Hello and welcome to today's episode of Authentic Achievements, where it's my absolute privilege to be joined by the fabulous Danielle Fette. Danielle, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to this conversation. And as we just found out in the green room, we could get stuck in quite quick, can't we? So before we do, let me just share a little bit more about you with our audience. So Danielle is the co-founder and CEO of FetTech, where she combines entrepreneurship with a passion for transforming healthcare. She's dedicated to pushing the boundaries of regenerative medicine by developing FDA-cleared medical devices that help the body heal itself. Known for her commitment to transparency and always putting patients first, Danielle focuses on finding natural solutions for some of the toughest injuries, diseases, and trauma. As a leader and innovator, she's passionate about creating meaningful change in healthcare and inspiring others to rethink what's possible when science, innovation, and patient care come together. I mean, I love that. I love that actually that passion is for the art of the possible, the art of what can we do if we think differently, if we put the right things at the heart, which is doing the right thing and making a bigger impact, that we can make such a bigger impact. But there's so much in there to start off with. Could you perhaps bring it to life for us a little bit more about kind of what drove you into this?
Well, I grew up from the time I can remember. I have always been obsessed with wanting to help people heal. So, example, like kindergarten, I'd be on the playground and someone would fall off the monkey bars and slam their head and there'd be blood everywhere. And instead of running away from that, I was the first kid to run to the person and just really have this burning urge to want to help people and fascinated with medicine. No one in my family came from the medical field at all. They were in the restaurant business. So it was definitely an innate calling, but I really struggled in school. I'm dyslexic and reading and writing was so hard for me. I was the kid that had to cheat to get through school, to be honest. And as I approached college, I got in because I was an athlete, but I had to talk my way into a nursing program. I knew there was no way I could go to medical school. And it was hard for me to swallow. I wanted to be able to get straight A's and get into medical school because that was my passion. But I had very supportive parents and I just had this knowing that somehow I was going to make an impact in people's lives in it, but it happened to be in an a-traditional way. So I became a nurse and I beat to my own drum, and checking in at a hospital was just not for me. I'm not rigid and as disciplined as a lot of nurses or attention to detail. I'm a bigger picture thinker kind of person. And I got into the medical device pharmaceutical industry on the clinical support side.
Okay.
And that's how I got into medical device. And I became fascinated with the field. And basically people like me would go into the OR to teach surgeons about the cutting edge technology. So after medical school, the way doctors learn about new technology is really hands-on from the company, like teaching them how to use new pacemakers or whatever the latest and greatest was. And I job hopped quite a bit from company to company because I never felt like that was my home. I felt like there was bigger and more for me out there. And then I stumbled upon regenerative medicine and fell in love. I mean, I could talk forever about what I believe is broken in healthcare and reflecting back why I probably wasn't happy, whether it was leadership or feeling like a number or disposable or feeling like it wasn't about the patients, it was about the money. I mean, there's many things that drove me to where I am today. But I did meet my husband, who is an engineer, and he would create the products that my teams would launch and sell. And by the time I met him in my career, I pretty much knew everything about getting a product out there into the market and to the patients that needed it. And then my husband knew everything about the side of the business to get products patented and approved through the FDA so they could be used in the hospital. So together we were kind of the dream team. And something happened in the workforce where it ended really ugly. We were working for the same company. And we just said, hey, you know what? We know how to do this better than the company we were working for. And then we both got let go. Let's do this ourselves. And so we started our company, FetTech, and we invent medical devices within regenerative medicine that are used in the hospital, that are used in surgery and burn and trauma, and really help the body reconstruct when there's injury to the body.
Oh, wow. I mean, what an amazing journey. And what I love is I hear so often when chatting to people on this show that there's kind of almost an unusual path. It's not a linear path, and yet the thing that drives them is this can't be it. There's got to be more. I've got to be able to help more people until they find their fit. And very often that fit comes in an uncomfortable way, doesn't it? You kind of get to that point, you're like, I think there's more I can do. I think it's here. But then having to overcome that part of, for both of you to start again and to put that piece in, that takes some courage. That I'm guessing that wasn't an easy decision when you suddenly think we're putting everything, we know we can do it. We know we've got the skills and the passion and the drive, but to suddenly take that leap into entrepreneurship, can sometimes be daunting, can't it?
It absolutely can. Before I met my husband, I dabbled in entrepreneurship. So I always had my medical device job. So I always stayed in industry. However, I dabbled like with side businesses with my sister and my family because I felt like my hands were tied in corporate America and I couldn't really use my creative juices, if you will. And I'm curious. I beat to my own drum. I love figuring things out. So I did have side gigs and side businesses because it was fun for me, where I learned how to build websites and I learned how to market. And so I was exposed to entrepreneurial stuff, but really being with my husband, and we were very loyal to the company we were with. And we were very into the product that he developed for them. If we were not severed with bad terms, we would never have been where we are now with our own company, making even a more advanced product. So that's kind of what kicked us in the ass, if you will, to form our own company and make better products. And now I'm just so grateful because when we worked for other people, we saw really ugly behaviors where money came first over patience. And I would go home crying at night. Like, we're all going to be patients one day is my motto. And how would I want to treat my mom or my daughter? And what products would I want in the hospital for me? So I've always been a huge patient advocate, even when I was young in my career, getting patients or products into the hospital. I would look at the board making the decision to bring new products in. And I'd be like, okay, we're talking about money issues. Like we're nickel and diming over $1, but based on what you know of my product, if this was you on the operating room table, what product would you want to use for you? And then next thing I know, the product was approved in the hospital. But I think it's so important for us when it comes to business to not lose the humanity. Like, money will be there, I believe, if you do the right thing and if you have great products, but you have to put people first before the profits.
I couldn't agree more. I love that because I think I think when it comes down to any organization, whether you're not for profit or profit, you've still got to make money. But for me, the piece has always been you've got three people you're trying to serve simultaneously, which is you've got the company, because if you don't achieve what the company needs to achieve, it won't be there. So you won't be able to do anything else. You've got the client or the patient in your case, how do you give them what's most important to them? And then you've got the colleague. How do you make sure the colleague's got everything they need to do to thrive? And if we can get to that middle piece where everybody's getting the bit that they need, then actually that's when you really create the exponential success, because you are making those decisions on, I've spent lots of years with organizations that talk about just one side of the cost of doing something, but there's always a cost of not doing something. And so you've got to know both to be able to make really human decisions rather than just monetary decisions. And it sounds like with kind of how you're building the organization and how you're driving it forward, it's helping people realize that there is a cost of not doing. There is a cost of taking that money only approach versus taking the human approach, the patient approach, and the fact that we all will end up there someday. So will everybody we love. And so thinking about what do we want for them and how therefore do we factor that into the decisions we make for everybody else's family.
Absolutely. And there's a huge moral responsibility that I feel my husband feels to do the right thing, because we're all going to be patients one day. So I think business and entrepreneurship is hard enough on its own, but when you have the pressure of knowing it's someone's life at stake, you know, I really have to find the balance between, like, I have to find boundaries often in me, because you always want to do more, because not only does more help your company, but more means more people are actually getting the help that they deserve.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, that's good, clearly from your story so far, it's been a clear driver throughout, you know, throughout childhood and throughout the rest of your life, which is actually, how do we help people? How do we help more people get better, help more people recover, help more people feel cared for and supported? As you say, even back when you were a child and everyone else runs away, that run towards and make sure that they're okay. Sounds like that's part of like who you are and who your core value set is grounded in. Would that be fair?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say wanting to help and serve through healthcare, through healing people, but also it's been impounded upon me because of my dyslexia and having to get creative to survive, that I am so clever at figuring out different ways of doing things. And working for corporate America, you know, you see pharmaceutical and medical device companies completely broken from the top down, just the way they treat their employees, the way they operate, the way they make decisions. There's a lot of layers. Things move a lot slower than they should. There are ways to get products to the patients that need them faster. So when we set up our company, we said, what did we learn from other companies that we need to do differently? Because traditionally, and I job hopped, thinking that the next company, whether it was a Fortune 500 company or a small startup, thinking that it would be different, but it was like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
You know, the circles of people there. I mean, there's still hierarchy. There were still people yesing everyone in meetings based on ego, and then going to the restaurants and bars for happy hour after, talking negatively, but they were in the room with all the upper management saying, praising it and agreeing with it, and then going home complaining about things were done, you know. And I just said, hey, when we have our own company, we need to streamline this. I don't want negativity. I don't want hours of conversations about things based on ego and not moving the needle and helping people. And so we vowed to not take outside funding. And I'm so proud of this. It was really hard. My husband and I did not take outside funding. We did not want to answer to a board, because we wanted to drive our decisions genuinely based on what we thought was best. And when you answer to a board and you take funding, you have to constantly check in with the business people and say, do you agree with this? It may not be what's best, but that's what they want. So we did it independently, and it was really hard. I mean, there was years we robbed Peter to pay Paul. I mean, my house was in foreclosure once. They repoed my car at one time, but I just had such a knowing that the products we were creating were really special and they were going to help people. And in the long run, even though it was hard in the beginning, not having fat salaries, it was so worth it now, because we can do whatever. Now everyone wants to throw money at us and wants to get a piece and be involved. And that's a whole nother conversation of having to set boundaries and having your eyes wide open. But I'm really proud and grateful that we did it that way. And we're a lean company, meaning we don't have lots of layers of employees. There's a core group of us, less than 10 people, and we outsource everything. And what that helps with the speed in which we can operate and make decisions and make changes or pivot, because we have a small team. And then we can dictate to contract manufacturing or legal or accounting or whatever we need to do to marketing to move things along. We're really streamlined and fast at it.
I love that, because it's great that you went through that, albeit I know how tough it is when you go through and you start off and you bootstrap something, because not only you're working all of those hours, you're carrying the additional stress of, oh my goodness, I've still got a family to bring up, a home to like look after, but my purpose is stronger. And you know, that resonates. I'm 8 years into my business, and it like there were a few that were a little bit ropey, but actually the fact that you've done it yourself so that you could stay true to actually what you wanted to do is make sure that the decisions were always driven by what's the right thing for the patient, and how do we make those decisions, is why you've ended up being so successful. And I also think it's great that, I mean, you talk about a small team and then you outsource, but actually the other upside of that outsourcing is actually what you're really doing is engaging the experts So instead of bringing people in and trying to, which often entrepreneurs do, and they suddenly sit there and go, I'm going to need to learn to build a website, and I'm going to need to learn how to be the best marketer and the best salesperson, the best this. It's like they can't do all of that, nor can they do it well. Actually, by outsourcing those elements, you're bringing experts into your organization. And do you think do you think that was a real conscious thinking at the start, or do you think that's been a positive upside of the fact actually you've outsourced the things to people that are going to be experts within them to help the business grow?
Our business model was definitely an evolution. If you talked to me 10 years ago, I thought my vision was I'm going to save all the people I've ever worked with and loved. I'm going to hire all these people and give them so much love and make them feel so safe and heard and seen that they're going to want to perform. We're going to have this big company because I've had like whatever amount of friends from company to company. And then I realized that our strength as a company was inventing new products. And there's a lot of companies that can manage. And although I'm a good manager, I don't think it's what I should be doing full time is managing personalities. I do better on a more intimate scale of people. And my strength is identifying people that on paper you probably would not hire for a role, but have a passion and that I trust and are so wise, like not just smart, but wise. And then when I say trust, not only like morally, but I trust their ability to gauge what they're good at and where they need help. So I don't have to micromanage them. So I can say consistently, everyone on my team is like as opposite as it gets as far as diverse backgrounds. But the one consistent is they are people that can figure stuff out, but they're not afraid to do that, but they're equally not as afraid to say, I don't know, I need help. And so I don't have to like spend all my time babysitting. I trust when they need me, they come to me. And that's why we're able to have a lean team. We have very, very diverse skill sets. I hired people. I'm really good at knowing this is where I need help. I'm not good at this. That's what travel got me through life. That's what got me through school. Having a friend that told me when homework assignments were due, a teacher friend that would hook me up, like helping me pass the tests in the first place, a lacrosse coach that would tell me you only have to go to 4 hours of school here, do this instead. You can get out of this quiz. So I was always really good with like the hookup and figuring out who's better at me that can help me get ahead. And that's the team I have, that they are so good at all the things I suck at. And I trust them and they're passionate and I trust their ability to reflect our company. And because I've done that really well, we now have a group of maybe 8 people that can run circles around a team of 60.
Yeah, I love that. I love that what you've done and then replicated is you've acknowledged in yourself the things you're good at and the things you're not good at. And you've not allowed ego to come in and stifle you into trying to be good at them all. Because that's what holds so many people back, isn't it? We with that drive for perfection over progression, that allows you to go, well, hold on, I've got to pretend I'm great at all of these things. And instead, by owning the areas that go, I'm great at this. This is me on Barocca. This is me on a really good day. But here, not so good. But how can I go and find somebody who's great here that might not be great there? Because collectively, we're going to be stronger. And having the confidence and the courage to recruit a team around you that are good at things you're not good at takes courage, because most people are scared of that. Yeah. Because they're scared that if I don't know anything about it, how do I know that these people are telling me the right thing? Whereas actually what you've done is trust your instinct that actually I'm good at working stuff out and problem solving. I'm good at looking at what needs to be done and going, who can help me in the areas that I can't do? And therefore spotting that like-mindedness. Would that be fair?
Absolutely. And I would take it one step further. I would say that the departments I oversee at our company, because my husband and I have it set up where he takes half the business and I take the other half. And anything in development he's working on, anything like once it's commercialized, I'm overseeing. So it's interesting. We obviously work together every day, but it's almost like operating 2 separate businesses.
Yeah.
There's not only am I hiring people that are good at things I'm not, but I'm also quick to identify this is what I don't like to do. I mean, there's always things we do that we don't like. But for example, I don't like data entry and I don't like Excel spreadsheets, but there's people that love to do that and they're really good at it. And I've learned that it's important as a business owner and a leader to be able to do every role and to be willing to do every role, whether it's cleaning a bathroom or doing busy work. If you're expecting your employees to do it, you better know how to do it. It doesn't mean you need to be good at it, but you need to be familiar.
Yeah.
But it's equally as important when I'm happy and I like something, I'm going to be more content in life. That energy is going to rub off on everyone around me. So although we all do things on our team that we may not love to do, I'm always paying attention to what's lighting the other person up. How do I give them more of that project? How do I take away things from them that I don't think they like to do because there's someone else then that can do it better? And that constant like checking in and pausing and just thinking about things has really helped me take our team to the next level.
I love that. It so resonates. I remember probably about 20 years ago now being asked, I was leading a team and they needed this particular, somebody in the board needed this particular spreadsheet being done and it was really dull. So I thought, my people are really busy. I'm not going to give it to them because it's just a waste of their time. I'll do it. Thinking I was being super helpful because I wasn't making them do this really dull thing that I was like, well, I can do that. Until the team came and went, don't you trust us with it? And I was like, of course, I trust you with it. You do much more complex stuff, but this really is just a waste of time. They're like, but then it's a waste of your time as well. So if you'd let us do it, we could have used your time to go and do something where you add real value, like coaching us or doing something else. I was like, oh, yeah, just not seen it. So in my attempt to try and be a kind team leader, I'd inadvertently missed the trick, which is actually they want me doing the stuff I'm really good at, which means, and they loved, I mean, this girl was all over the spreadsheet. It looked much better by the time she'd finished it than the time I had. And it was like, okay, it's something that gives her energy. It's something that takes my energy away. And actually, if we can find those things, and to your point, Danielle, that there is always going to be things that we have to do that we don't like or that we aren't good at. But I think it's finding the way to ensure that they are minimal within our day and that we optimize the things where we know it's us at our best. We know it's us adding the most value. And if we can do that for our people, that's when the real growth happens. Would that be fair?
Absolutely. 100%.
So what next for you guys?
I mean, the sky's the limit with us and our technology. The medical devices that are used in the hospital, they recognize injury in your body. And then in an all natural way, they send your body signals and say, hey, there's an injury here, body, this is how you heal it. Like think about, it's like an alternative to stem cell therapy. Yeah. And it's super safe. And right now we have certain indications in the hospital. So you can be used in burns and surgery. But we know that there's ways we can help heal, say, after nerve damage. So to potentially help someone that has a spinal cord injury or heart injections to help someone after a heart attack. So we're working, my husband's working on developing new indications with our products to help more patients, more disease states. And my team is actively launching the products that are already approved. So we have a product in aesthetics that is used after lasers and to help your skin look as healthy and be as healthy and strong as possible. And yeah, our hands are on a lot of pots right now. We're doing some antiviral work and it's really, really exciting. But it's also teaches me to be grounded because things take so long and I like immediate gratification. So on the science side of things, I'm like, wow, things take years sometimes. So I'm learning great patience while also helping get our products out to hospitals and patients.
I love that because it can, particularly when what you're driving is something that adds such real value to people. The thing that is Well, the thing that's priceless, isn't it? Our health is priceless. It doesn't matter how much money we have, we can't buy our health. So if we're giving people opportunities to improve it, then actually I can see why your passion to get it out there faster it could hit that wall of yes, but you've got to actually you have got to follow the right amount of time, and that progress can feel slow. So what would you say has been the greatest lesson you've learned so far?
I would say when things don't work out the way you think or you're planning, that instead of getting frustrated or mad or trying to muscle through certain situations, thinking like this is my goal or this is where I want to be more open-minded
Yeah.
of the pivot and the why things are happening. Like I'll give you an example. I don't know if we were talking about this in the green room or on this live podcast, but my husband and I, we formed our own company because we got let go from the company we were with and so loyal to. But if that hadn't happened, we would not have started our own company. Or there was a hiccup we had with getting one of our products FDA cleared because we couldn't pass a certain test. We couldn't complete the test. It was a safety test. And at the time we were devastated. But 6 months later, we learned it was the biggest blessing that ever happened because we found out there were antiviral properties in our product. And now we're working with the government to work to see how we can help certain viruses. But if that had never came up, we would never have discovered our product has antiviral properties. So, and I'm talking, that's like the big scale, but even like dumbing it down to like driving.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm an immediate satisfaction kind of girl. I go from 0 to 60. I like results. I'm an athlete. I like to do really well. And I like to see my results like yesterday. However, I've been driving with my kids and talking and say I missed an exit. Instead of like reacting in a negative way, I'm like, that could have saved me from being in an accident. That could have not going on that road could have led me to maybe going to a different gas station where I'm going to meet someone else or have a different opportunity. Or I've learned to not put so much pressure on the outcome and say, if there's a hiccup or a problem, just go with it. Like you don't know where it's going to lead you, and just changing the way I look at situations instead of being a victim or down about it, just really having that faith and that trust that it could lead me to a better direction.
Oh, I love that. I often say that if life's taught me anything, it's that everything in it is a lesson, a blessing, or both. So in the moment where I don't feel blessed, I look for the lesson because that's where the blessing will be. And I think, I don't know if this resonates yet, I've also learned life only really makes sense in the rearview mirror. Sometimes when you're going through it, you're like, but why? Why this? Why that? Why are we going through it? Then when you get to the other side, you're like, that's why I had to go through that, or that's why I had to learn that lesson, or this is what I was being prepared for.
Absolutely. It's so true. Like that's why I feel like these podcasts for me keep me grounded, because it's really easy in the hustle and bustle of every day for me to be down on myself. Like I need to be doing more. All these patients are reaching out saying you're my only hope. I'm going to lose my foot if I don't get your product. And I have to pause and put the pieces together and almost hear me talk about where we are today and what we've gotten through to get here, and slow down, because it's all those stumbling blocks, it's all those turns and detours and pivots that got us here. But you have to reflect back and think about it to appreciate it.
Yeah, but I think once you do, then actually when you're faced with the next set of, I like to call them plot twists. You go along, all of a sudden life throws you a little plot twist, and the reason I use that is it's a much more positive term. I love a thriller, so you want the plot twist. The plot twist is always a good thing. So changing that in my head has made me, when I get those things that might not feel like they're going that great, to go, it's a plot twist. It's going to be best for the story if we go with it. And I've survived all the other plot twists, so we're probably going to be all right with this as we come out the other side. But I think to your point earlier, it's in that reframing, isn't it? It's in that taking ourselves from what we can't control to what we can control, and therefore putting our energy in the thing that we can move forward.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, and I've had a lot of those detours. Gabby Bernstein says that detours in a better direction. But I mean, even with my husband, the night I was planning on breaking up with him, it was like the universe said, oh no, you're meant to be together. And this was 2009. I mean, we were in a house fire where we lost our animals and got out of the fire. But I'm like, I remember vividly being in the ambulance and watching him run into the house to get the animals, and me thinking, okay, got the memo. This is a man I love. I will never cheat on him. I will never leave him. I want to be with him forever if he comes out of this fire alive. And I mean, recently I joke like, that night of the fire, I was going to break up with you because I didn't think I would be a good mom. He had a daughter at the time, and I ended up adopting her. But I was really nervous about being a stepmother or adopting her as a mother. I didn't think I'd be good enough. And that fire kind of said, oh, you don't have a choice. And thank God that happened, because now I have the most beautiful family in life with them. But it is interesting to reflect back why certain things happen and how it brings you down a different road, and a beautiful road. But no one wants to hear that when they're stuck in the shit and you're going through it. No one wants to hear, oh, it's going to work out perfectly. But you just have to have that faith that it is.
You do. And I'm so glad that it has worked out for you, my lovely, because you clearly deserve it. I can't believe where the time's gone. I mean, that has gone in a blink, and I've still got a gazillion questions. With consciousness of time, can you share with the audience how they can get in touch with you and who you help?
Sure. Danielle Fette. So my last name will be in the notes, Fette. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn. Our company is called FetTech, FetTech.com. And we help patients that have injuries from wounds. Like if you had surgery and you developed a complication, or God forbid, we're in a fire, and you can look at our website, because as we evolve, there's new indications for our products. But that would be a great starting point, would be our website.
Amazing. And as Danielle said, if you didn't get to scribble all that down while we were talking, it is just in the show notes below. So please do take a moment to look there, to connect with Danielle, and to see how her and FetTech can help. Danielle,
yes, and I was just going to add one. Sorry, I'm going to add one thing. All of our products are medical devices, so it would have to go through a licensed healthcare provider, because I do always have people reaching out saying, how can you help me? And I don't want to mislead anyone listening to this. It's not a product that's like a cosmetic where I can just ship it. It would have to go through a licensed healthcare provider.
Fab. No, thank you for that. That is good, because equally I don't want you inundated with loads of people that you then can't help. So thank you for clarifying that, and thank you also for coming on and sharing your insight, your lived experience, and how your passion for people is making a real impact on the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
And to everybody listening and watching, I hope you found today's episode as insightful and inspiring as I have. And until next time, take care.